Building business in Indonesia. So before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is William and I'm building three applications right now, which is quite crazy to be actually me speaking about that as well. Because building a business is not easy, right? And I've been building digital product business for the last maybe 12 years, I guess, from now. And I think in Indonesia, digital products business is not as huge as in the US or in Singapore or other countries because like Indonesia is a huge market, of course, 280 million to 300 million populations. But the people who actually wants to buy digital product is not as huge as the US market or maybe countries that use English to promote their products. Because like when you are in Singapore, you speak English and your product can be distributed globally. But if you make content in Indonesian, of course, the only market that speak the language is Indonesia, right? So the goal of me speaking in English, actually, I want to try to experiment one thing. I don't actually see a lot of Indonesian making content in English and actually selling products to people outside the country. Although my current product is actually not selling to the global market, it is actually more to very local Indonesian market, which we call it as kos-kosan business, which is like a boarding house. So I'll just use kos business. If you want to understand it, then you can Google what is kos-kosan, right? So the reason why I speak in English, then why do I make content in English? If I don't sell the product globally, there are two reasons. First one, I want to test, right? I want to test whether content speaking in English like that can reach global audience, which later, I don't know, opportunity that's going to come. What will that be? I don't know, of course. Second one is actually like I want to practice my English because like I've been in Indonesia for the last 12 years, I guess, or maybe yeah 2016 since I last come back from abroad. Then I've been speaking in Indonesia for a long time, and I feel like my English has been very Indonesian the last 12 years. Because like my first language, of course, is not English, right? My first language is of course Indonesian, and then I spent like 6 to 7 years speaking in English, in living in international environment. So yeah, I've been reading, writing, speaking in English. But the last 12 years, no. I've been talking to Indonesian, selling to Indonesian, teaching into Indonesian, or even teaching Indonesian language to foreigners. So my English has been very bad the last few years. So I've been thinking like maybe it's time for me to practice my English again by speaking it instead of just reading or maybe writing or listening to English content. So, what's the story about the videos or the series that I'm going to make? Actually, it's not a crazy video, it's just a video about me yapping about me building a business, documenting me building a business. Because I think the craziest part of building business is actually not the result, but the process of building business is what actually worth the price of what we struggle for, right? So I'm thinking like maybe this video can be helpful for my future generation. Maybe like for instance, maybe I have kids in the future that they want to see how their parents actually building a business, me and my wife building a business. So I want to document everything. And the third reason is actually to promote or to share stories from Indonesian business environment. So if you want to invest in Indonesia or if you want to come to Indonesia just to experience the country, to feel the culture, then you can maybe see my video and then you can learn a bit about Indonesia. Right? So let's come back to the business that I'm building because like in the next videos then I'll be talking about that a lot, right? So I'm making two applications. One is for cost owner, which is KOST, business cost kosan we call it. It is a business where a property owner actually like maybe he has a rooms or maybe like they built a specific kind of design of a house that separates rooms into maybe like 10 rooms, 20 rooms, and then They sell each room for one house, one tenants. One person can book a room. So maybe in Korea you can say like Goshiwon, something like that. So Goshiwon is very small, right? But this one is kind of bigger, like maybe 3 times 5 meters, around that kind of size. So in Indonesia, that kind of business, those kind of businesses actually run and owned by older people. So those older people, of course, they are not very literate with technology and digital transformation. Actually, like the main reason why I want to pursue this one, and I've been very accustomed to it, is because my own parents actually own three properties to actually they actually run cost business. So I've been thinking like maybe I can help them by building a specific application to solve their problems. The biggest problem in cost business is not merely marketing problem or sales problem, because like the demand is actually like very huge, especially in big cities like Jakarta, Yogyakarta, Surabaya, Medan, or Bandung. The demand is huge and the supply is actually huge, and so you can find like very few that cost business or rooms that are not sold out. So I think like the problem is not marketing or selling the rooms. The problem is actually operating and do the operation of the cost business, because the cost business has been very manual, labor intensive. So it's taking a lot of space in owner's mind. For example, if you have only like 5 rooms, it's easy to remember who actually ran the room. But if you have 20, 30 rooms, 40, sometimes I uh, just finished a consultation with a property owner or a cost business owner. He has 7 properties. You can imagine 7 properties with, for example, average of 20 to 30 rooms. It is 140 to 210 rooms that he managed. If he has no system, then his mind will be go crazy, go insane with the number of rooms that he has to manage. He has to remember who is coming in, who is going out. Then they need to remember. And then a few weeks ago, actually, like I had a conversation with a cost business owner, and I was asking about a simple question that he couldn't ask. He couldn't answer. I'm sorry. I asked about who is actually renting room number 7, for example. And then he was like, number 7, okay, William, let me find it and then let me tell you who is actually renting the room. And he was like opening the book, the huge ledger books. He was looking at back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. 10 minutes passed, he just found it. Okay, William, I found it. His name is this one. And then I asked like, what's his phone number? Because like you need to contact them, the WhatsApp numbers, for example. And then he continued searching again. Where did I put the WhatsApp numbers? If you put it into our application, I told him like, you need to spend only 5 seconds to actually find all those informations in a single concentrated centralized information inside your application. And then he was like, oh my gosh, if you have just told me few years back, I wouldn't spend a lot of hours and days to just manage my cost business. That's why we built the application. Currently, the application actually like we just rolling it out after building the basic features. So this week we have like 3 users actually using the application, because like we just finished all the like the privacy data compliance, which is like the GDPR version of Indonesian version of the GDPR compliance policy. So we just finished that one, and so we just trying to selling it out. The strategy is very simple actually right now, because like the cost business is a very niche business. So my goal after this, which is here is my computer right beside me. What I'm going to do is actually like listing all the cost business around my area, and then finding all the numbers and maybe just contacting them one by one, asking them whether we can do meetups, and I can sell them and show them the application that we are building. So that's the story about my business that I'm building right now. Just yapping it out. I don't know whether you get a good insight or maybe a takeaway from my video, but this is a documentation video. Hopefully, that it can help you get insight about what Indonesia is, or maybe in the future videos, I'll be deliberately sharing about Indonesia in the next videos and about my business as well. So up until here, thank you so much for watching. If you find this insightful, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and I'll see you on the next video.